in the interest of the Nevens child, we're here on a status hearing. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Ms. Wiggins is with us representing the child. Ms. Naranjo is with us representing the mother. Ms. Jones, who is with us, and Mr. Barfield's with us representing the father, Mr. Nevens, who is with us. That's all of the parties. I have no one in the waiting room. So Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Michaela Kirksey as its witness.
Okay. Ms. Kirksey, if you raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. I do.
All right, we're getting feedback from somebody. I'm gonna mute everybody except for Ms. Kirksey and see if that handles it. No? That's Ms. Kirksey. If you could maybe try to turn down your volume.
Yes, sir. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that helped.
Okay.
Is that better, Amy? Yeah, okay. All right, we're ready to go. Ms. Gutierrez?
Thank you, Your Honor. Michaela, who do you work for?
St. Francis Ministries.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a permanency supervisor.
Okay, and are you covering this hearing for somebody you directly supervise?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the worker assigned to this case, Christy Ashley?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. I understand you filed an amended court report this morning. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But since nobody's had time to read that, we're going to go based on the initial court report, and then I'll ask you for updates, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of the court report filed in this case on March 18th of 2025.
All right, so noted, and I did read that report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michaela, can I get some updates on the child Zaden since the filing of the court report?
Yes, ma'am. There aren't any big updates. Zaden's doing amazing in his foster home. He's placed in Temple, Texas. He's healthy. He's 95% for his weight, so he's a big baby. He's meeting all of his goals, really. He's giggling. He does tummy time. He loves to play with toys that light up. He's not doing any type of ECI, anything like that. Placement reports that they feel like he's very interactive, and you can tell that he's been loved on and had lots of attention. So he's doing great.
That's good to know. Thank you. Now, regarding the mother, Ms. Jones, can we get an update on how she's doing?
Riley has been very, very great to work with. She's willing to work services. She signed her family plan. We did ask her to do a baseline drug screen. She was negative on her hair follicle and UA for March. She's currently working at Amazon right now, so she does have a job. She has a permit. She does not have her driver's license yet, but she's working towards it. She's began her domestic violence courses. She's living in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment with all of the supplies she needs. So she's been doing great. And on top of everything else, she's also sending formula and diapers to her worker to send to placement to help out. So she's taken responsibility and is doing amazing.
Would you agree that that's unfortunately uncommon in our line of work?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And are you encouraged by the amount of progress she has made so quickly?
Very much so.
Okay, that is great. How are her visitations with Zaden going?
Visitations are going great. Right now, she has virtual visits just due to the distance. They're supervised by guided path. She has 2 30-minute visits weekly. Placement says they're doing good. Guided path has reported everything to be positive, so we have no concerns.
Okay, great. And is the father, Mr. Nevens, how's he doing so far?
Xavier's doing well. He is working at, I believe, Cargill in Tulia. He does live in a kind of studio storage unit type of thing that they changed into these like little houses here in Amarillo. He signed a service plan. He's willing to work services. He wanted to get started on his BIP, but BIP works during the week, so he's paying separately to be able to do his BIP courses over the weekend. We did have one issue about drug screening. He did refuse to drug screen in March. He was asked to go, and he stated that he's doing them for probation and that he was not going to drug screen for us. He did self-report marijuana.
Thank you. Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of the temporary order following full adversary hearing, section 15.4, that order that ordered for Mr. Nevens to comply with the department's request to drug screen.
So noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let's see here. And is Mr. Nevens having visitation with Zaden?
He is not, and it's due to an order from his assault against a family member charge, but that order should be non-active after the 14th of this month. So we're hoping next week we'll get virtual visits set up for him.
Okay. Thank you, Michaela.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
are we providing updates to Mr. Evans about how Zaden is doing?
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned on the service plans, and did Christy Ashley create service plans for both parents?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are the direct supervisor over her, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so do those service plans aim to mitigate the reasons for removal?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they reasonably tailored to the issues from removal?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you please identify 2 to 3 services specific to Ms. Jones that are unique to her?
I would say the domestic violence class or support groups, the parenting and counseling are specifically tailored for her.
And in regards to Mr. Nevens, can you please identify 2 or 3 services unique to him as well?
Rational behavioral therapy, anger management, and parenting.
And I know you mentioned that Mr. Nevens was paying for his BIP course to be able to take it over the weekend. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he actually started that BIP course yet?
I have not gotten confirmation of it, so I cannot confirm that, but he has reported that he is beginning it.
Okay, by his report then. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty then. Now I know you mentioned that there had been kind of a disagreement about Mr. Nevens or from Mr. Nevens' drug screening, and as well that there was self-reporting of marijuana use. Due to that self-reporting, have you done an amended family plan of service?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was filed on April 10th of 2025, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was added to that family plan of service?
St. Francis added a request for an OSAR assessment and drug screening.
And that was due again to the conversations with Mr. Nevens, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now, did Mr. Nevens have an opportunity to sign this amended plan?
He has not yet.
Okay, but he did sign the original one, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Are we asking for drug screens to be ordered on Mr. Nevens today?
Yes, ma'am.
And would that be a urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please identify the reasonable efforts to reunify that the department is making with the family?
St. Francis has created family plans of service for both parents and is willing to pay for the services. St. Francis has offered visits for mother, and St. Francis is also hoping to have the 2 home studies looked at and decided on for the child to be moved in region so that we can place with relatives in the next week or so.
And moving the child in region, would that make in-person visits for the parents? Once Mr. Nevens is able to start those, would that make in-person visits more probable?
Yes, ma'am.
And would that greater facilitate the bond between the parents and the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any other requests for the court?
I do not believe so.
All right, I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Kirksey, you may have answered this, but would it be contrary to the welfare of Zaden to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, sir.
Would it be a continuing danger to the child's physical health and safety to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Naranjo, questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kirksey, have there been any specific updates regarding the home study on the Weatherbys?
Yes, so we did just receive it. I got, essentially they list different safety concerns that we have to follow up on. So we've gotten Weatherby and we've gotten Nevens back. So they're both returned. I believe they got back late last week. My worker sent back all of the updates that I needed this week. I'm hoping to have it submitted to my director today. And I'm thinking hopefully by next week, she'll give an approval and checked off the list so that we can start getting them moved.
Thank you, Ms. Kirksey. I'll pass the witness.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Barfield?
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, I do have some questions about the, obviously the new service plan was just filed yesterday. And so my client has not had the opportunity to see that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was there a home study done on my client's residence?
The home study was completed on maternal great-grandmother, Deborah
Okay.
Weatherby, and
Okay.
then there was 2 of them.
Okay.
So then paternal grandparent, Teresa Brown.
Okay. That's what I mean. I misspoke. I apologize. And you said those have been done, but we're waiting for approval so that we can see them and they can be filed with the court. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about currently, Mr. Nevens is working at Cargill, and has he given you his hours that he works?
He has not. I want to say my worker reported that he works in the afternoons, though.
Okay. Well, and the reason I'm asking this question is it's in regards to the BIP class that he's paying for on his own. He works basically at the Cargill and Friona. So were you, and I know they answered the question based on your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. He leaves his home at 12:30 p.m., works a 10-hour shift, and gets home between 1:30 and 2, which makes it impossible for him to make the evening classes. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't aware of his exact hours. I was
Okay.
just told afternoon.
Okay. So my question is the BIP class he's taking on the weekend the exact same class he would be taking at 6 p.m.?
To my understanding, yes. The only difference is I believe that the one on Saturday is virtual, which is fine with us.
Okay. Then why is he having to pay for it himself?
We don't offer payment for the virtual over the weekends.
Is that a law or is that just a policy?
I don't know. I can look it up for you and see what the difference is in the coverage. I was just told that we don't cover the weekend ones. They might charge more since it's a weekend and since it's virtual. I can look it up for you and send an updated email to you if that helps.
Okay. And were you aware my client was the non-offending parent in this case?
I guess not technically.
Okay. You weren't aware of that?
Are you saying like RTB wise for the criminal case or for
Yeah,
the CPS case? Or are you
I'm saying
saying
for the reason
involvement?
for removal.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so it's just my concern is he's having to pay out of pocket to work these services voluntarily. And so I would like to see if we could get these classes paid for, because it's impossible for him to do it during the week. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Now in regards to, the only amendment to his service plan that was filed yesterday, the OSAR assessment.
The OSAR and then just regular drug screening.
Okay. And, okay, thank you. And I will, okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Kirksey, whatever you find about the BIP class about payment and the weekend deal, send that to everybody, including the court. And then once I see what you found, I'll just probably rule by email on the cost of the BIP classes. So,
Yes, sir,
okay.
Your Honor.
Ms. Wiggins, questions?
Ms. Kirksey, is Mr. Nevens is on probation, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what
Or
he,
yes, ma'am.
That's okay. Do you know what he's on probation for?
I believe it's from his assault against a family member charge.
Do you know if he has to take the BIP class for probation?
I do not.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
I'll follow up on that.
Would anyone have further questions for Ms. Kirksey?
I do, Your Honor. Michaela, if the removal affidavit reflected that Mr. Nevens had family violence with the mother, would that change your opinion on whether or not he was a quote-unquote non-offending parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
Anyone else?
No, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. We do rest. We ask that the court make findings that we are making reasonable efforts to reunify the family as testified to by Ms. Cooksey, that we've created those family plans of service. We're facilitating visitation for the mother, and just working with the parents to get their services started.
Okay. All right, I will make the findings of reasonable efforts to reunify by creating the service plans and offering at least at this point, Ms. Jones' visitation. So, all right, Mr. Onho, did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Barfield?
I just need to call my client briefly, Judge.
All right, Mr. Nevens, if you'd unmute.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Sir, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Barfield?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Nevens, have you started your BIP classes?
Yes, I've already done six classes.
Okay, and just for the court's edification, how much does it cost you each time you go to one of those classes?
$25.
Okay, and so you spent what, $75 so far?
No, I've spent $200 so far.
200. Okay, I know it's okay, outdated. All right, now in regards to the new family plan of service, you have not had a chance to review that new family plan of service, have you?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you understand, since you self-reported marijuana use, that an OSAR evaluation is basically an evaluation to make sure to see if you need any type of drug counseling? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to participate in that evaluation?
Yes.
Okay. And have you started any other services?
Yes, I actually have only three more classes left with counseling. So I've done three of them so far.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you to do the court a favor and yourself a favor and me a favor. When you please keep your worker informed when you do that stuff, so that when the worker does a report for the court, we can keep accurate information for the judge. Will you promise to do that for me?
Yes, sir. He actually emailed Christy and let her know how many classes I had left. So
Okay, very good. All right. And so you've started services, is that right?
yes.
And now in regards to, there was some testimony regarding a court order that's going to expire soon. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you asking that once that, you understand this court can't do anything regarding visits as long as that's pending?
Yes.
And once that's expired, are you asking that the court allow you to start having virtual visits?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you have any other questions at this particular time in regards to your, other than you have to review and sign your new service plan?
No, sir.
All right. And you understand the court is going to inquire into that cost situation on the BIP classes?
Yes.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to deal with is the court is, I'm not going to say what the judge is going to order, but the court is in all likelihood going to order you to take a hair follicle and a drug screen so that the court can get a base level for any type of issues that may result. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you understand the importance of everyone involved in this case kind of knowing where we're at there?
Yes.
Okay. And are you willing to go do that?
Yes.
All right. That's all the questions I have, Judge.
All right, you read my mind, Mr. Barfield. Ms. Gutierrez, any questions for Mr. Nevens?
Yeah. Mr. Nevens.
You're breaking up, Teresa.
Mr. Nevens, are you working today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you work tomorrow as well?
No, ma'am. I don't work on the weekends.
Okay. And what time do you go into work today?
I leave town at 12:30.
Okay, and as far as transportation, do you have transportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Wiggins, questions?
Mr. Nevens, do you have to take the BIP program for probation?
Yes.
So even if the department wasn't involved, you would still have to take the BIP program. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Nevens, does probation require you to pay for the BIP program?
Yes, they do.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll still take a look at it to see what Ms. Kirksey finds. So, all right, Ms. Naranjo, did you have questions for him?
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Mr. Barfield, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses. I rest, Your Honor.
All right. Anybody else have witnesses?
Your Honor, I'd like to amend my request. As far as reasonable efforts, I'd like for the court to consider recognizing that the department completed 2 home studies on relatives in region, as well as a reasonable effort to reunify.
All right, I'll make that finding.
Thank you.
All right, then, Ms. Wiggins, recommendations?
Thank you, Judge. I'd recommend that the child remain in his current placement. And in regards to the home studies, I'll just like a copy of those when they come through so we can
Sure.
hopefully get him closer and with family.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, then, I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I'll continue Zaden's current placement. I'll order the services for each parent as contained in their service plans, as well as the amended service plan. I'll order Mr. Nevens to complete an OSAR assessment and follow any and all recommendations. I'll order that Mr. Nevens both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow, April 12th, since he has to leave for work at 12:30 today. That will be at Care Express on Ross Osage and Amarillo. I'm going to go ahead and order that Mr. Nevens' visitation, regardless of what happens with this other ruling, it will be suspended until he has provided both a hair strand and UA drug screen. Mr. Nevens, if you've already admitted apparently that you would be positive for marijuana, I'm not going to stop your visitation if you're positive for anything, but we do need a baseline, and so you're going to have to do those 2 drug tests before you get any visitation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next hearing in this case will be an initial permanency hearing on August 4th, 2025. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or 2 before August 4th or talk to your lawyers and they'll let you know exactly what time we're going to have that hearing. Okay, we'll be in recess on this case. I'll be back here in just a few minutes to call another Randall County case. That's a status hearing on the Seeley child. So we'll be in recess. Everybody have a good weekend.
Your Honor, one more thing on this case. I may have glitched out and I apologize if I did and missed it. Did the parents get admonished about their family plans of
Oh, no, they
service?
didn't. Thank you for that.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
you didn't. Mr. Nevens and Miss Jones, Miss Jones, if you'd unmute first. If you're on a phone, you can hit *6. If you're on some other kind of device, I don't know what to tell you.
Is it working?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Nevens, Ms. Jones, I need to admonish you that the services that are contained in your service plans and any amended service plans become a court order today. At a final hearing, if you haven't worked those services, your parental rights could be altered or terminated. Do you both understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll be in recess. We'll see y'all back on August 4th. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you.
This is an initial permanency hearing involving the Cervantes child. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Ms. Wiggins is with us representing the child. Ms. McDaniel is with us representing the mother, Ms. Standley, who is not with us. And Ms. Archer is covering for Mr. Hill, representing the father, Mr. Cervantes, who I show is incarcerated and not with us. Ms. McDaniel, were you expecting your client?
No, Your Honor, I was not.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Archer, you weren't expecting yours?
No, I'm not. Jeff said he hasn't had contact with him, so I probably need some information on his location.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, I have Yolanda Novak, she's actually in the waiting room under her name twice. Is she your witness?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know why she's in there twice, though. Could we bring both in? Maybe
Yeah.
she's shared that link with the parents.
Yeah, either that or it could be her assistant. So we'll get them both in. This is Judge Graham. We're showing you in twice. We didn't know if you had another party with you or your assistant or what.
No, sir. I think I just accidentally clicked
Okay, well, we've
twice. I
got,
tried to close one screen, so.
that's okay. We've got you here and we can hear you, so that's fine. So, all right, Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Yolanda Novak as its witness.
Okay. Ms. Novak, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, wait a
Yolanda-
minute. Excuse
Oh.
me. Sorry to interrupt. Mr. Hill's in the waiting room. Let's see if maybe he shook loose. Mr. Hill,
Yes, sir.
you can hear me? Miss Archer was covering for you. Do you still need her to cover for you?
I don't, Judge. I'm sorry I was in court and I'm just now available if the hearing hadn't happened yet.
No, I just now called it, so. All right, Miss Archer, you're off the hook. You can go ahead and send us a bill.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Really?
Natalie. Sorry.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, Mr. Hill, your client we show is incarcerated and he was not in the waiting room. You weren't expecting him?
No, Judge.
Okay, all right, we're ready to proceed. Ms. Gutierrez?
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Yolanda Novak as a witness.
And I think I swore her, didn't I?
I
Amy?
don't think you
Yeah.
have.
Amy says I did, so.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay, you're ready to go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yolanda, who do you work for?
St. Francis Ministries.
Do for them.
You broke
What
up.
do you do for them?
St. Francis Ministries.
Is everybody able to hear me okay?
Yeah, you just broke up there for a minute.
Okay, I apologize. Yolanda, what do you do for St. Francis Ministries?
I'm a permanency specialist.
And are you assigned to the case with Echo Cervantes?
Yes.
And is her mother Rebecca Stanley
Yes.
and her father Miguel Cervantes?
Yes.
Okay. And regarding the child, she is currently placed in a kinship home. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is with her two other siblings. Is that also correct?
Yes.
And did you file a court report on March 25th of 2025?
Yes.
Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of that court report.
All right, so noted, and I did read that report.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Yolanda, can we get an update on Echo, please?
She is doing well. She's growing, starting to be vocal, bonding well with her siblings and the fictive home caregivers. No medical concerns. She's eating. She doesn't have to have ECI services anymore. They discontinued those because she's doing well. So eating and sleeping good and growing.
That is great to hear. And have you had any communication with Rebecca Stanley since the last hearing?
I have, yes.
And what communication have you had with her?
I was able to meet with her at the end of February and at the end of March.
And is she working on her services?
She's not.
Did you talk to her about starting those services?
I did. When I met with her in March, she came to the St. Francis office and I went over her family plan with her. And when I met with her in February, she told me she didn't have an ID to be able to show for drug screening. So in March, I offered an oral swab for her to do in the office with me, and she refused. She reported that she would be positive for marijuana and prescription noxaproxen she got from a coworker. And she said that she didn't want to do the oral swab, that she would wait and do it at the clinic, and I have not heard from her since.
Now, historically, is it correct that Ms. Stanley has struggled with methamphetamine use?
Yes.
And are her and Mr. Cervantes' visits currently suspended?
Yes.
And what is the condition to restart her visits?
They need to submit to a drug screen.
Okay,
And I believe the judge ordered an OSAR for them at the last hearing.
let me take a look. If I could have just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Okay, Your Honor, I ask that the court take judicial notice of the status hearing order from December 9th of 2024.
Right, so noted. I've seen it here, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor, and that both parents' visitation with the child is suspended until they submitted to urinalysis drug screen and a hair follicle drug screen.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yolanda, was you, in your asking the mother to drug screen, were you also attempting to help her comply with those conditions to restart her visitation?
Yes, I did remind her of that.
And has she stated anything about visitation and echo?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Does she ask about the child?
She did, and she said she wanted to start services, that she had talked to the padre about starting parenting, but she has not started that I know of for parenting classes. And she told me that she had moved out from Mr. Cervantes' mom's house, and but she doesn't have a place to live.
Are you saying that Miss Stanley is currently homeless?
I believe so. When I saw her at the end of March, she did not have an address, and she did not tell me a location where she was. So I believe she is.
Regarding Miguel Cervantes, how is he progressing on his service plan?
He's not started services either. I have not had contact with him since they moved him to Middleton. He is, I did look at the site. He's eligible for parole at the end of this month. I believe it's the 24th. And then depending on that, his projected release date is January of 2027.
Now, you said Middleton unit, so the father is currently in TDCJ, is that correct?
Yes,
Has a courtesy worker been assigned to him?
not yet. I had the wrong email address and I resent it today, hoping to get that done quickly. I have sent him a letter with an update in March.
And what was your update on?
How Echo is doing, the next court hearing. Just asking how he was doing.
Have you inquired with Mr. Cervantes if there are any services in jail that could possibly meet the requirements of his service plan?
I looked on their site. I haven't inquired with him. They list on their, sorry, let me flip to it. For the Middleton site, it does say that they offer substance abuse screening and assessments. That would fall under his service plan.
Do they offer any other classes such as parenting?
I did not see parenting. They had some educational programs. Adult educational programs, community work projects, and volunteer initiatives. But I didn't specifically see parenting.
Is there a parenting workbook that Mr. Cervantes could work on parenting skills with?
I can find out, and if there is, I can mail a copy and send the courtesy worker a copy to see if she can take it to him.
And do you know, and you may not know the answer to this question, would him working on a parenting workbook and finishing it, would that comply with his requirement for a parenting class?
I would have to also find that out.
Can you find that out very quickly and let everybody know, please?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
by everybody, I just mean, if you could let me know and then I'll share it with the parties.
Yes, of course.
All right. Um, let's see here. So I think we already stated that visitation for the parents continues to be suspended. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any additional services that need to be ordered?
If I make contact with Mrs. Stanley, she has not signed a release of information for the OSAR, would be the only thing. I mean, she has to sign a release for me to submit the referral.
Okay, and in regard to drug screens, are we asking today for Ms. Stanley to submit to a urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen?
Yes,
And typically that's Care Express and Amarillo, is that correct?
correct.
Is Ms. Stanley currently in the Amarillo area?
The last I knew she was.
And does Care Express do drug screening on the weekends?
I think they do for a window of time on Saturdays.
Do you know what that window of time is?
I don't, I would have to call and ask, but I can.
Let's see. Can you please identify the reasonable efforts the department is making to reunify the family?
We created the family plan of services. I've attempted visits each month, except for when he was transferred to Middleton to help them initiate their services.
And you requested a courtesy worker as well for Mr. Cervantes. Is that also a reasonable effort to reunify the family?
Yes, ma'am.
And what does that courtesy worker do to aid that?
Courtesy worker will go see him face to face, discuss his services, also be able to see if there are any additional things that he can do while he's there. She can relay certificates to me from him as he completes them.
Okay. As well as placing the child with the child's siblings, a reasonable effort to reunify the family.
Can you ask that again?
And placing the child with siblings in a kinship home, is that also a reasonable effort to reunify the family?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Do we have any other requests for the court besides the drug screening for the mother and asking her to be ordered to sign a release of information for the OSAR assessment?
No, ma'am.
Would it be contrary to the welfare, to ECHO's welfare, to be returned to either parent today?
Yes.
And would it be a danger to her physical health or safety?
Yes.
Has the witness?
All right, thank you, Ms. McDaniel.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hill,
No questions, Your Honor.
all right. Ms. Wiggins,
No questions.
all right. Ms. Novak, I read in the report that Echo had some withdrawal symptoms, but they were getting better.
Yes, she doesn't, sorry. When I last spoke with placement, she wasn't showing any other symptoms from that.
Okay, and she's getting ECI for physical therapy and feeding therapy?
Not feeding, they discontinued the feeding therapy because she's doing, she doesn't need it any longer.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. We rest. We just ask that the mother be ordered to urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen, as well as to sign that release of information for the OSAR assessment.
Okay, all right. Ms.
And Your
McDaniel,
Honor, oh, I apologize. I had one more request.
ma'am?
We are also asking for the next hearing to be set as a final.
Okay, all right, I was gonna get to that. All right, Ms. McDaniel, do you have any witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
No, sir.
Ms. Wiggins?
No witnesses.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, recommendations?
I recommend that the department continue as temporary managing conservator of the child. The child is doing well with her half siblings. There are no issues at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Echo's current placement. I'll order Ms. Stanley to both Hairstrand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today at Care Express in Amarillo. I will continue the order that the parents' visitation be suspended until each has provided a UA and a Hairstrand drug screen. All right, based on the lack of progress in the department's request, I will set the next hearing as a final hearing. I've got 2 dates available. They're both Mondays. I've got June 16th and I have June 23rd. Whichever works for the parties works for the court.
Both dates work for the department, Your Honor. I don't know if the other attorneys have a preference.
Okay.
Judge, the 23rd would work better for me, but I can do either one if I need to.
All right. Ms. McDaniels, either one work better?
I can do either one, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Then let's go ahead and just do the 23rd. That's the one you said was better for you, Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, then I will set a final in this case for June 23rd, 2025. It will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before June 23rd to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. All right, that will conclude this hearing. I'll be back at noon to call another Randall County case. That is an initial permanency hearing on the Carvey child. So we will stand in recess. Everyone have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Your Honor.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
In the interest of the Caldwell children, we're here on an initial permanency hearing. I have someone on a phone line ending in 748. Are you Mr. Caldwell?
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Caldwell.
Okay, all right, thank you. You can just stay right where you are. I just wanted to be sure who you were. So
Yes, sir.
we're gonna do
Hello?
this as a final today.
Yes, Your Honor, I think we've got an agreement amongst the parties to treat today as a final hearing and announce an agreement.
Okay. Give me just a second.
I saw him pop up a minute ago, but I don't
Yeah,
see him.
I
now.
heard him. I heard him. I don't know if he's disappeared now.
I have authority.
Okay. Okay, well, does someone want to just announce what the agreement is?
And Your Honor, I'm just pulling up the details real quick. I apologize for the delay. Okay.
I think I've got the phone.
Yes, sir. No, I'm here, Judge.
Okay, he's here. So Mr. Caldwell is with us.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have reached an agreement in this case. It is set for mediation, but we'll go ahead and cancel that, Your Honor, since we
Okay.
were able to come to this agreement today. The agreement is as follows, for today, but to be considered a final hearing and due to the agreement, that the department and Randall County Domestic Relations will both be dismissed out of the case, as well as the parents' attorneys. That the mother will be named permanent managing conservator of both children. That she will carry the children on insurance through Medicaid, and uncovered expenses will be split 50-50 between the parents. The father will be a possessory conservator of both children. Child support will be based on minimum wage to begin 60 days from his release from incarceration and to continue monthly thereafter. Cash medical support will be $25 for each child per month for a total of $50 per month, also beginning 60 days from release from incarceration and to continue monthly thereafter. For visitation, Your Honor, there is a stepped-up visitation plan to standard. And overall, there is a provision that any positive drug screen, refusal to drug screen, or failure to screen by query will result in visitation being suspended and restarted only upon provision of both a negative hair strand drug screen result and a negative urinalysis drug screen result to Chelsea, and that Corey will be responsible for those payments. Let's see here. So for step one, Your Honor, do you want me to read these in detail?
No,
for
I
each
don't
step?
really. I'll refer to it in my order as just as contained in the final order to be presented to the court. I think that suffices.
And for the
Okay.
court's benefit, I read those verbatim to Corey just a moment ago.
Great.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Good.
And Your Honor, we want to make it clear that Chelsea would have the right, with not closer than 90 days apart to request hair follicle drug screens from Mr. Caldwell,
Okay.
at Mr. Caldwell's expense. And that goes back to the provision, that if he fails to or tests positive for an illicit substance, then it would, his visitation would be suspended until he provides negative hair follicles and UAs.
Okay.
And let's see, there are 4 steps in the phased-in visitation plan, Your Honor, with the 4th one, upon completion, him getting a standard possession order.
Okay.
And Chelsea's right to request drug screens would continue even in the standard possession order. And Your Honor, I believe I got Ms. Wiggin. Courtney, I did email you on this one, right?
You did. I was waiting for the parents. I pretty much was gonna agree to, whatever they had, as long as there were provisions with drug screens. So I'm in agreement with this, Judge.
Okay. Is that the entire agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, that's the entire agreement.
All right, Ms. Mullinex, you've heard what was announced as the agreement. Is that your client's agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Nowak, is this your client's agreement?
It is, Corey, unless you tell me different.
No, sir, that's my agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Ms. Wiggins, you've already said that you're in agreement. Okay, then I will approve that agreement and order it. I will name Ms. Motts as sole permanent managing conservator. I'll name Mr. Caldwell as a permanent possessory conservator. I will order that Mr. Caldwell's child support will be set based on minimum wage to begin 60 days after his release from incarceration. And I'll set his medical support at $25 a month each for each child for a total of $50 per month to begin 60 days after his release from incarceration. Those payments for both child support and medical support will continue until further order of the court. I will order that any uninsured, I'll order that Ms. Motts will carry insurance or Medicare, Medicaid, and any uninsured expenses will be split equally between the parents. I will order the stepped up visitation plan as Ms. Gutierrez was setting out, and the specifics of that plan will be as contained in the agreed order to be presented to the court, including all the agreements concerning Mr. Caldwell's testing for illegal substances at his expense. That will all be as contained in the final order presented to the court. I will order that the department, Randall County Domestic Relations Office, and all other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo rights have expired. If the attorneys would please discuss with your clients their appellate and de novo rights. So, since we have a final resolution in this case, there'll be no other hearings set. I appreciate y'all working this out, and I'm sure I'd always tell the parents when we get a final order, I'm sure you'll both be happy not to have to see me again, and I don't take
Yes, sir.
offense. I take no offense to that. So,
No.
okay, we will be in recess on this case. I'll be back at 11:30 to call another Randall County case, an initial permanency hearing on the Cervantes child. So we will be in recess. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir.
Judge, this doesn't have to do with this case, but did Sam already let you know that the 1230s agreed?
Brittany let me know, so.
I just wanted to make sure I could tell my client not to appear.
Yes, yeah, I'm not going to call it. That's good news for a last case on a Friday afternoon, so.
Right.
Okay, y'all have a good weekend.
Judge, permission to leave the courtroom for the week.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you, Judge.
Nowak.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Novak.
You call me if you need anything.
Yes, sir, I sure will.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.